Hi everybody, it's Becky from Icing on Top Becky's Cakes, and I'm going to show you today how to get your cupcakes completely flat with their buttercream. You put the buttercream on, we get them completely flat really super easily. It's a neat trick. I love doing this. And then we get to the fun part. We get to use stencils to make all these butterflies, but you can use stencils for anything. Here's a little more close-up of that butterfly. Added some Sweet Apolita sprinkles to bring some more bling for this 5-year-old's birthday party. But you can use any stencils, cake stencils that you have. They're kind of bendy, but since we're doing them on cupcakes, they don't have to be bendy. You can actually use any kind of stencils. So it's super fun. I use different color buttercreams. You can also use the regular color buttercream, just put sprinkles. But there are lots of different techniques. I want to show you these and let the fun begin. So I'm going to use my American buttercream recipe, and I'll put the link in the details down below if you want the link to that recipe. And I got this pastry bag, and I'm just going to fold that in half to make it easy to fill with my buttercream. And I'm using a tip on mine. You don't have to, but I find it's much easier to control if you use a really large round tip. And so I'm using a really large round tip on it, but like I said, if you don't have that and you just want to cut a hole in even a Ziploc bag and try this, that'll be messier and you won't have as much control, but still doable. So I never tell you to buy a product that you don't have to buy. So you don't have to buy this to make this work. But like I said, I do appreciate things that are easier. So in the tip it goes. I'm going to have some wax paper and line a baking sheet, and then right in the center of my cupcake, I'm going to pipe that frosting and slowly just move it around as I'm piping. So you just have a pretty flat top, but then you're going to flip it upside down, give it a little pat pat, and then that'll help flatten it after we freeze them. So I got all the cupcakes ready to be frosted. Here, all my other ones. And I'm just going to start right in the center. Again, I'm just going to move my wrist slightly around as I'm piping, just to move that buttercream around. That keeps it fairly flat and makes it easier for this part. Give it a little pat, and then that'll help smooth out that buttercream the rest of the way. The kind of buttercreams that I usually use when decorating a cupcake are a little thicker. It is a traditional buttercream though, so traditional buttercream should be this consistency, should be thicker, and that way it holds its shape better. If you use too thin of a buttercream, by the time you turn it over and pat, you're gonna have a smushed mess. So you do want a thicker buttercream like this one. And again, the link for this recipe will be in the description down below. Now you've got them all flipped upside down like this, and they're ready to go into the freezer for 30 minutes. That's all it takes really to get them nice and firm on that end, is 30 minutes. Here is my stencil. I'm using this butterfly one, but you can use whatever stencil you want, and I'm going to use some sanding sugar, and that's a lot of fun. But if you want to get fancier like I do, I love this diamond dust. It's edible. It's from the Sugar Art store. And then I also have a silver one, and then I have a gold one. This one comes in a pump bottle, which is really fun, but it's also the same kind of thing, diamond dust, and we can just spray that on, and I'll show you how that works as well. And yeah, a scraper or some kind of offset spatula is great to have. Now we want to work fast enough that they don't get tacky. So see how it's nice and smooth? Yeah, we want to be able to scrape on the buttercream and the stencil while they're nice and smooth like this and still somewhat frozen around the outside. So if you don't work fast enough, you can just pop the ones back in the freezer for a few more minutes until they're firm enough that they're going to be smooth again and not tacky. All right, so here we go. We're going to pick what butterfly we want to do, and I'm just going to set it right where I want it. And then I'm going to grab a purple buttercream. This one I just dyed with some gel food coloring. And I'm just going to lightly rub that right over the design. And you don't want to be moving around the stencil too much, so that's why we want to use a light touch when we kind of press in that buttercream. And then we want to lightly scrape it off. Because now watch, if I scrape it off too hard, then that takes all the purple off, and you don't want to do that. So you want to use a very light scrape so that we're not completely taking off the buttercream we just put on. We just want to scrape it till it's smooth and that it covers all the little areas, and then we're just going to gently lift up from there. We're going to take 2 hands and just gently lift it straight up. And then you'll have a little butterfly. I have a few other little dots because there were little areas that the butterfly came through. But here, let's try that one more time. Just set it down in place. And this time we're going to use the white buttercream. I already have it in the tube still, so that made it easy for putting it on. And then I will just press it down with my offset spatula without moving my stencil too much. So I'm just going to press it and then scrape it. And this time, instead of using a colored buttercream like I did before, I'm going to spritz it a little bit with that edible gold diamond dust, because that was a fun shade to try. Then we're just gonna raise that straight up again so we don't get glitter all over the rest of it. And there's our gold butterfly. Ooh, I like the way this one shimmers. That diamond dust sure is fun. Let's try the silver one really quick so you get to see what that one looks like as well. Ooh, I really like the silver one. Yeah, that's my new favorite. Lots of bling. This time we're going to use 3 little ones, I think, and we're going to make these gold, but I'm going to kind of have it darker on the top and then a faded out lighter one at the bottom, just to see what look we can get with these. There's so many different looks to try. I'm gonna lift that right off. Ooh, that's pretty. A little darker on top and faint faded one at the end. You can kind of see the slight sparkle on it. If you're going for subtle, which most of these I'm not doing too subtle because it's a 5-year-old's birthday party. So here's another one with a few little ones with purple buttercream, and this time we'll try it with this sanding sugar. And those look super cute as well, and they add a little bit of bling because of that sanding sugar. Now these ones were the birthday girl's favorites because, well, it's pink buttercream and then we put pink diamond dust on it, so lots of pink and sparkles. So that's the one she went with as a favorite. But all the different combinations of sprinkles and buttercreams, really the possibilities are endless, and this was truly a fun technique to use. You can even do this with your kids. I mean, it really is a lot of fun once you get in your routine and you keep going. There's so many endless possibilities. Now I'm gonna actually add a few little flowers with this drop flower tip. This tip is a 225, and I'm just gonna add a couple little flowers, then I'm gonna add a couple little Sweet Paleta sprinkles, and I'm adding all this bling because, like I said, it's a 5-year-old's birthday party and they wanted more bling. So if you were going for more classy, you might wanna leave off some of the bling. Thank you so much for joining me today, and please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any more fun videos.